Welcome to Magical Memories Unlocked, your guide to events that truly rock. From tips on planning and entertainment too, will help you make your dream event come true. Now without delay, let's dive into your guide to event success today.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another Magical Memories Unlocked, your guide to event success. Today, I'm super blessed to have somebody, the man behind the mask, literally and figuratively. We have David with us today. David is is probably one of the best character actors that I think I've seen. He really and you see like people in those mascot characters and costumes. There are different layers to this, and I would say David's probably one of the best ones that I see in the way he does it. I don't need to tell everybody what he does. I'll let him do it. David, would you like to introduce yourself, tell everybody what you do, and how you do it?
My name is David Sabsels. I own a company called Kid Characters for Parties, and I've been doing this for probably, I would say, over 17 years. I went full time with my own company back in 2021. I have over 50 different characters. I've been doing it. I love it. I love working with children. I love making memories, kids happy, smiling. It's a great job, and I love it. Yeah.
That's awesome. How did you get into it? I mean, I feel like, in the world of entertainment, people don't necessarily think of characters, and we're talking about like the mascot style characters and some superhero type of characters that you do. How did you get into that specifically?
Well, it's a funny story. I mean, it all started back when my little nephew, who is now like 19, 20 years old, turned like one, and they had an Elmo costume, and they asked me, if I would perform in the Elmo costume, and I was like, all right, let's do it. And I performed, and it was funny because I actually put on top of the Elmo costume. That was like my first time really doing in a character, and I actually put a t-shirt and a pair of shorts on top of the Elmo costume, and everybody knows how hot an Elmo costume can be. And it's and I was dancing around, performing, and it went great. And then my sister-in-law goes to me, you're really good at this, and like, oh yeah, and so they gave me the Elmo costume, and back then a lot of my friends were actually having kids, and then I used the Elmo costume just for a couple of my friends, and that had young kids, and I just kept doing it, and then I was like, you know what, this actually would be like a side business to what I did. I was in sales at the time, inside sales, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna just do this on the side for a little bit. And then, I got another costume. I wound up getting a Spider-Man, and then I got a Batman, and then a Ninja Turtle. And, and it just kept growing and growing and growing. And I've been doing, like I said, I've been doing this on the side for a long, long, long time. And I loved it. The real funny thing is when I was a little boy, I wanted to be a puppeteer. And now I'm kind of like a life-size puppet.
That's exactly. Yeah, that's a great way to describe it. Absolutely. That's so cool. So what was you mentioned that you went full time with this, and what was your transition point from doing this on the side to going full time with it?
So when COVID hit, I did lose my event sales job, and instead of going back into that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to just focus on doing my character business. I love doing it. And, back then when COVID hit, a lot of people were having issues with, doing anything for the kids. So I was like, I'm going to do social distance appearances for the children. And I started doing that. I did Santas. I did many different characters, whether I did it in a driveway or I did it on Zoom. I was just giving the kids something because they were stuck inside.
Sure.
And then, then COVID was, basically I just decided to go full time with the business. That's basically what it was. I was
Sure.
like, I love doing this. It took me a long time to get to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this full time. And I haven't looked back since. I've developed a lot of great relationships with you as well as many others,
Sure.
and I love doing it. And I love the outcome of nothing's better than when you see a kid smile, they're so happy, and you're just creating a memory for them, their family, and I love the after effect when I get like a message from the mom and they just said, "Oh, my kid can't stop talking about Spider-Man or Batman coming to my party. It was the best. He wants him to come back tomorrow." And it just makes a smile on my face. And
Sure.
I feel like I'm selling happiness is what I am. I've been a salesman for a long time. I've been in sales, inside sales, outside sales, selling services and commodities. And, I do sell a service now, but I feel like I'm just more selling myself as a performer, and I'm selling happiness. I'm selling love and joy. And I don't see that many negative aspects of what I do, to be honest with you, right now.
Absolutely agree with you. I mean, that's you're literally speaking my language because that's quite literally what I tell people. I said, I'm super blessed. I get to bring joy to people, and that's what I do for a living is deliver happiness. So I love that, and I love that you said that. Can we talk about a little bit how you're different than others? I spoke about that in the beginning that you're one of the best, and you obviously you've been
Thank
able
you.
to take this on doing this exclusively. There's a lot of people that do it as a part of something else, or even how you said at the beginning, you did it part time. But now this is all you do is just characters. So what makes
Yeah.
you unique?
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I do focus 100% right now on doing characters. Not saying in the future I wouldn't branch out and do others. I really don't even do princesses right now. I mean, there has been situations.
Well, I don't think you would
I'm
look good
trying.
in the dress. That's why.
Yeah. Well, let's just say I've done many. I've done a couple of female characters. Hasn't gone my way, and I've gotten away with some with the mascot heads. But
Sure.
yes, you're not going to see me dress up as Elsa or Ariel, or even though I did Ariel with a mascot head. But that's a story for another time. I have to say, I love performing, and I feel like once you're in the character, when you're in the costume, you can't be a statue. You can't just, anyone can just put a costume on, but you have to embody it and be a performer. I'm an actor. Whether I didn't go to training or anything like that, I feel like I'm an actor because when I'm in the character, I really don't break character. I don't. I try to, and I keep the children engaged. I even involve parents if they want to get involved. I love, when I do my games as a character, I always say adults can play too. They look at me like, okay, or come on, and they join. But
That's amazing.
I definitely feel as a character performer myself that you have to engage the children, engage the audience, and basically take that character and perform it. And don't just stand there like a statue. Anyone can stand there in a costume, give a high five, hug, and just stand there, And I have worked with other people that have done that, and I am not that kind of person. And people that work for my company, I will not let them do that. They have to be as engaged and try to be as animated as me. I don't know if they can, but I'm pretty animated when I perform, it's a good thing that I'm into like superheroes and comics and cartoons and all that stuff. It definitely helps me, I think, with my performance because I know my stuff when I'm doing it, you know?
That makes sense. Yeah, Spider-Man's got to know who his villains are. I like that. Yeah, absolutely. Is
Oh
there
yeah, I know all the villains for Batman, the Spider-Man, you know, Ninja Turtle, all that stuff. I get into it, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a particular situation that you can remember where that knowledge came, to be very valuable? Maybe one of the kids, asked you a question or something like that that
Oh yeah.
you
Oh
surprised them
yeah.
to
All
know.
the time.
Hmm.
All the time. All the time. They always ask me, you know, as Spider-Man, they're always asking me, you know, where's the Hulk or Spider-Man that, you know, uh, how did you fight Venom? And you have to know the superheroes and the characters, I think, when you perform. You know, I even quiz some of the kids, especially a Spider-Man. I ask them, like, who I do a game where we pretend pretty
Uh-huh.
much that they're superheroes with me and they follow me and we're fighting against Venom and we're fighting against Sandman and all sorts. And they have to know that. And I asked them before we play the game, who's the villain of Spider-Man, you know, and sometimes they go off and say completely the Joker. And I'm like, no, no, no. What I really want to say is that's, you know, that's DC, not Marvel, you know, but they don't know that. Because a lot of the kids are like 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
But, you know, I always ask them if they don't know the answer, of course, I just tell them. But you know, it's just role playing, I think, is very important
Mhm.
in performing characters. Yes.
Absolutely agree with you on that. Now, have you ever had a situation where somebody said something that like completely surprised you? Like asked a question that was like, I have no idea where you came that up with that.
I mean, the kids, oh, you know, they ask a lot of questions. And sometimes, you know, in those character heads, especially, yeah, you can't hear 100%. And they just, some of them, they just ask you a lot of questions while you're in the middle of playing the games and engaging them. And you want to answer them, but they just keep going and going, and you have to continue to go. And
Mm.
you know, so I'll go, yeah, and I give them a high five, and then they kind of go back into the game.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I've had some situations where, you know, you'd be surprised some of the kids like who their favorite characters are. And you know, I did a Captain America one time,
Hmm.
and Thanos is my favorite character from
Okay.
Marvel. I love Thanos. You know, I have a whole Thanos collectible collection. Anyway, the little kid's favorite character was Thanos, and he dressed as Thanos, and he had the gauntlet, like the nice gauntlet, like the $400 gauntlet that lights up. And I think I was more excited than all the kids because I was like, oh, I told the parents, I was like, oh, I got to get a picture of me as Captain America trying to take the gauntlet off of Thanos, and it was such a fun party. And it was cool because it was a repeat customer. I did Darth
Mm.
Vader for the kid a year
Hmm.
before.
Hmm.
But, you know, like in situations like you never know. It was so much fun. The parents gave me the pictures, and
Aw.
they had a little throne for him and everything. I was like, oh, can we trade places? I'd rather be Thanos and you can be Captain America. You know,
That's
I thought it
amazing.
was really cool. That was a cool situation. Yeah.
That is so cool. I love that story. Is there a favorite character you have? You said Thanos, but I don't know if
Yeah.
you
Well,
have
Thanos, I
one that
don't
you
have
do.
the actual character. I really love.
Oh, okay.
Uh, I think that's my favorite character for me as a personal person,
Sure.
as my favorite villain in Marvel. But I would have to say my favorite character to do. You know, I do a lot of them. It's really hard. I, I would have to say one that I don't do that often, but I love as a personal favorite is Cookie Monster because
Mm,
I'll do Cookie Monster's voice, and I love
mm,
it's one of my favorite characters as a kid.
mm,
Um, I think the easiest character to get into is Spider-Man, though. Like put the
mm.
Spider-Man costume on, I'm go. You know, you can also you do them. I think that for that one is the most athletic one, I think, for me. That the jumping around and so forth. No, I can't climb walls, and they've asked me too. Oh, can you climb up on that? I'm not gonna lie. I've done some situations where I've gone on chairs. I've climbed a rock climbing wall with Spider-Man. It was
Oh,
pretty
that's cool.
cool.
That is very
Yeah.
cool. They're like, but
Um,
Spider-Man, why do you need the harness on you?
yeah, it's funny. I said to him, I was like, "Look, I'm going to climb up this rock climbing wall. Don't put the harness on me and make me look bad." But they were like, "Oh no, it's a requirement." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah." So I climbed up the wall like halfway because Spider-Man. I'm afraid of heights, so which is whatever. But I climbed up halfway up the wall for the picture, for the nature center at the time, the Stanford Nature Center. I
Oh, that's
performed
cool.
a character right there. But yeah, I mean, my favorite character to do, I have over 50. It's hard to explain. It's hard to think. Um, I don't know. I mean, I love doing pretty much all of them. I mean, I did Black Panther, which I loved. I love the outfit that I have. I have the helmet that lights up with
Oh,
the,
cool.
and that one was really cool. I mean, Batman's always fun. I don't know. That's actually a hard question. I mean, Buzz Lightyear is a fun. It's a costume that takes a while to put on Buzz Lightyear because a lot of components. But when I'm dressed in it, I love it. I'm going around going to infinity and beyond. And yeah, I don't know. That's a hard question to ask.
How about the
I
opposite of
think
that? What is your least favorite one to do? Which is the when somebody calls you, you're like, do I have to?
the least favorite one. Hmm. Uh, let's see. Uh, I'm gonna say Minnie Mouse. That one's a pain in the butt.
Understandable.
Oh no, actually, I'm sorry. Uh, Poppy Troll. Yeah. That's a cool
Oh
costume,
yeah.
but it's a full foam bodysuit,
Uh-huh.
and I gotta go in that, and it's hard to move in that one. Yeah,
That makes
it's hard
sense.
to get into that one. That's see, I don't mind doing any of these characters, but some of them are hard to get into. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that because I don't think people realize the work that goes into actually being a character performer. Can you speak a little bit about that? Like what's involved? It's not just throwing on an Amazon special costume, and getting into
No,
it and running
no.
out there. Can you talk a little
I
bit
I
about that?
I agree with you. I see. I always think about like you have to engage the audience, the kids. You have to keep them engaged
Mm-hmm.
as a character. Yes, you got Spider-Man here, you got Batman here, you got Paw Patrol, and they love it, but they're young. Their attention span goes quickly, So you got to keep them engaged.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like my ultimate goal is I want the kids to have fun
Mm-hmm.
and I want them to be engaged. And I want the time to go so quickly because then you're not just if it goes slow, then there's something wrong. That's how
Mm-hmm.
I look at it. Like if it goes so quick like that, the kids are engaged, everything is fun, things
Mm-hmm.
are moving along. But if you ever get to the point where you're just, you're like, okay, is it over yet? Is standing there? No, and
Yeah.
I don't. My ultimate goal is to just keep it flowing, keep it
Mm-hmm.
flowing. I call myself, and I tell this to the customer. I say I'm the wow factor. You want me in
True.
there to like come in there, engage the
Exude
kids,
energy.
get them all excited, and then slowly I just disappear, and then they do the after either they do the cake or after the cake Spider-Man just got paged, he has to go back to Avengers headquarters. Iron Man just called him, and I leave.
That
And
makes sense.
yeah,
So I'm curious. I mean, we talked a little about the costume. What is the difference though between the costumes that you have and something that somebody might get on Amazon or one of those kind of places?
I mean, I like to have professional, nice costumes that look, I would say, like 90%
Mm-hmm.
of the actual character that they see on the television or
Mm-hmm.
on the in the movie and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell you right now, 100%. And they are generic ones, but they look really, really good. And I do not, I do know, and no copyright infringement or anything like that.
So to be
You know,
clear, if everybody that's wondering, we the characters he's naming are parody characters, as we like to call them. They're not the actual characters. They're not like licensed per se, but
exactly.
they look like the characters. They look similar to them. But yeah, I mean, you're not actually going out there as Spider-Man or as Batman or
No,
whatever. You're
no,
going out
no.
there
I,
under
I think we're more like representatives of the actual copyright,
sure, sure,
but
sure, sure.
you know,
That's important.
uh, I
Uh,
definitely I think my costumes and a lot of my customers have always said, "Oh, you have really great costumes," and
mhm,
yes, they're generic. I get them made from a certain supplier,
mhm.
and yeah, I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, and I've worked with different companies, and I've seen some
Oh, okay.
really really bad costumes,
Okay.
and and I've seen some really good ones,
Mhm,
but yes, I do pride myself on having a good costume quality, but
mhm.
I always think, yes, they're great quality, the costumes look good, but it's more about the person in the costume, in the
Sure,
character that
sure,
brings it to life.
for sure.
And that,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, even if I had not a great looking costume. And
Mhm,
I'm gonna say some of my costume, my older ones, yes, I don't think they're the greatest, but if you perform in them and the
mhm,
kids are still engaged,
mhm, mhm.
I always feel then it's great, because I don't feel that it's 100% how the costume looks. I
Mhm.
feel it's the actual performance in the costume,
For
in
sure.
the character, in the mascot.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
how
yeah.
I look at it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree with you 100%. That's definitely the right mentality to have, and I think that's awesome. You have to have a good costume, but the performance is obviously more important than having just an amazing costume. So I love
Right.
that. Um,
Exactly.
is so we talked about I asked you your favorite, your least favorite. Is there a most popular one that you've done? Right. I mean, I know this is an ever evolving thing based on
Yeah.
what's coming out and
I
stuff. But
mean,
currently, what's your most popular
I
one?
can tell you like the most universal one is, of course, Spider-Man. We've been talking a lot about that one,
Mm-hmm.
but Mickey Mouse is always a popular one, or Mr. Mouse,
Mm-hmm.
Minnie Mouse, also Mrs. Mouse. Yes, yes, there. Um, and Paw Patrol. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
any of the Paw Patrols, Marshall,
Mm-hmm.
Chase,
Mm-hmm.
Sky, those. Yes, of course. Those are like the universal ones. They're always Elmo, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and I would have to say the newest one in the last couple years, it's been Bluey.
Mm.
Yeah, I there hasn't been that's the most popular one. I mean, besides Spider-Man, yes. So I always been saying for the last 2 years, Bluey and Spider-Man have been my most popular in the summer. Yeah.
Mm. That makes sense. Is there something important to note that clients should realize about these characters? I mean, sometimes people want you to come in and you've alluded to it in certain circumstances, talking about like your ability to hear people, obviously the visibility and stuff like that, are things that people should be aware of and that should know before they book a performer or preparing for a performer to come in.
The one thing I don't like is I personally try to tell them to have me come before pizza and cake,
Mm.
because sometimes, especially at venues, they only can have me in the party room.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm doing in like one of those places that or play places, they necessarily
Mm-hmm.
sometimes have rules that they don't let characters into their area
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reasons, and then they want you only in the party room.
Mm-hmm.
And the party room limits me for interaction and games.
Mm.
Takes away a lot of my wow factor. That's how I look at it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I usually tell them, have me before pizza and cake. Now,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it doesn't work like that because that's what they want. Now, ultimately, it's whatever the customer wants. But I recommend to have have the character come before pizza and cake, because during pizza and cake, especially when they're eating their pizza, I'm just standing there as a character and I'm interacting with them, but I'm just giving them high five, trying to talk to them, and they're not really engaging. They're eating their food, and I don't personally feel like that's me. But
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
again,
I
I do
agree with
whatever.
you.
Yeah. I mean, see, you've been doing this a long time too, so you probably encounter a lot of the stuff that we're talking about. So.
Sure. You know what it is, but I don't know if anybody realizes that. People that are listening to the conversation are going to say, they don't necessarily realize what, should be or shouldn't be doing. Because sometimes I feel like, especially as a character, I think people don't realize the level of engagement that tends to be. And it's important that you have, people's attention. I tell clients all the time, as soon as the pizza come out, pizza always wins. You can never beat pizza. So it's a good
You're
one
right. You
to
can't
note.
beat pizza. You can't beat pizza, and you can't beat birthday cake and cupcakes. No, you just can't. So,
uh,
you know,
can you think back on some of the events that you've done and think of any kind of funny stories or funny interactions you had?
I mean, funny interactions. I mean, I've done so many like funny things, from like coming in on an ice cream truck or
Oh, that's
a
cool.
tractor. I mean, I've done a lot of, like, I have to say, funny things. I mean, there's a lot of funny stories.
Yeah.
I mean, that I've had over the years, doing this. I could say one that was really funny is I did a party as the Easter Bunny,
Hmm.
and it just so happened to be a bunch of motorcyclist family. But they had a Harley outside, and I was like, all right, can I hop on this Harley? I hopped on the Harley as the Easter Bunny and took a photo, like, given the peace sign.
That's so cool.
Another one is the Easter Bunny, which I'm a basketball player. I play a lot of
Hmm.
basketball, keeps me
Hmm.
in shape, so forth. And they had and one of the kids was shooting hoops. I was like, oh, the Easter Bunny can play hoop. And I took the ball, and as the Easter Bunny, I shot it and made a jump shot. And then I made it. And I'm like going, yeah, Easter Bunny.
That's
I mean,
amazing.
there's a lot of fun stories that
Hmm.
I've done with the characters. I always like to incorporate myself in doing different things as a character. It makes it more memorable for them.
For sure, absolutely, totally agree with you on that. That's so cool. I love that. And can you just mentioned a couple of things that, like, you came in on an ice cream truck, or you came in on a tractor. Is there any other kind of really unique events that you've done like that?
Well, I mean, I came in on a fire truck. I've come in on an ice cream truck. I've come in a police car. I've come on a flatbed. I've
Wow.
I mean, I I think
Every
one
form
of
of vehicle.
it's funny because this
Have you been
I
flown
know
in yet? Have you
every
had,
type of
had
every type of
helicopter,
truck
parachute, any of those kind of
that
yet?
I haven't. That would be really cool. To come in on a I'd be
Uh-huh.
scared because I don't think I'd be like in a helicopter, but to come in on a helicopter would be really cool. You know, um, I have to say, a funny one was I did a Paw Patrol. I did Marshall, and then the little boy had he was like 3 years, 2 years. I think he was like 3 or 2. He had a little car, like one of these little electric cars,
Hmm.
and our entrance was the little boy coming in on his car and Marshall right behind him dancing. And that was actually really fun. So he was zooming around and I'm like right behind him.
That's so fun. That is
That
cool.
was a fun one. Uh, Darth Vader is always fun. I mean, that actually, you know what? I have to say Darth Vader is one of my probably top 3 characters to do,
Okay.
because all I do is battle the kids. They have lightsabers of their own, whether they're inflatable or
Mhm.
plastic ones, and I just come in and I just fight them all.
I love
And
that. That
I
is so
love
great.
it. I'm a big Star Wars guy. I love Star Wars. So, like,
Hmm.
doing Vader, And then I do lightsaber training with them, the best at my ability. Obviously, I'm not 501, but I try to do what I can do. And what I do is I teach them basic light saving training moves, and then I have them fight me one-on-one. Then the birthday boy would usually fight me. But I've even done 40th-year-old birthdays,
Oh, wow.
Star Wars team, and I battled the birthday guy, and I battled some of the guests, and we've actually did like taking our hands like this, doing the force, and yeah,
That is
there's a
so
lot of
fun.
yeah. That's the whole thing about this whole job for me. I love it. I'm having fun, and I feel that, and that's a very important thing when I look for people to work for me and perform with me and for me. They have to have fun with it. If you're just doing this to make money, I feel like it's not for them. Because if you're just
Yeah.
going on and putting a costume on, doing it for the motions, not for them.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, and that's I think that's like I said, that's a huge differentiator. Getting people like yourself to do events and really have the passion for it is key. And even like I said, a lot of other companies out there, they do it as kind of an add-on or an additional thing. It's not really their main focus. So it's really great to hear that you have that passion. Now talking about kind of logistically about certain things, there are people, there are adults and kids that can be scared of some of these mascot characters. Although you definitely exude the energy that kind of helps diffuse that. How do you
Yes.
deal with some of that stuff? If when it does come up.
I basically feel them out when I make my entrance. When I
Hmm.
look around, and then my entrance is always high fives and hugs, of course, in the beginning, and I can feel them out. And if I see that they're timid, I'll bend. I won't like engage them to the point where they're going to get scared. If they're
Mm.
scared and they're hiding behind their mother or
Hmm.
father, I let them be. I continue to move on with the children that are really more engaged
Hmm.
and perform, ready for me to perform with them. And but I will try. I mean, I'll definitely go down, like if I'm 6'1", I'm not short, so I will bend down to
Yeah,
give
yeah,
them a hug or a high five. And if they're with their parents, say they hide behind their mom, the first thing I usually do is I'll give the high five to the parents and make
yeah.
the child feel not as threatened and
Hmm.
afraid.
Hmm.
If that doesn't work, then I usually just leave it alone. And when they want to join in on the games and stuff, and a lot of them do, in the beginning they're scared,
Yeah.
but then they see the other kids joining in and having fun, so they slowly, you know come to me. And sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes they're just not participating, and they're playing with they're next to their mom and their dad. And then the older kids, so if you have a party where the kids are really young, and
Hmm.
then you have the older ones, nah, that's hit or miss. Sometimes the older kids are like, yeah, I'm not hanging out with Batman or Paw Patrol. The teenagers don't want
Sure.
pictures or any of that. But some of them will engage and join in the fun as well with the kids, with the
Hmm.
younger kids.
Hmm.
My main focus always, of course, is the birthday boy or birthday girl. Make sure that they're having the best experience.
Hmm.
So, of course, there is situations where I had to cut the appearance short because I felt you feel so bad. They hire you. All the other kids are having a great time, but the birthday boy was so scared of the mascot that they won't even come
Hmm.
in. And I, of course, don't want that. And I don't
Hmm.
want the birthday boy or birthday girl to be so scared to the point where they're not enjoying their party.
Hmm.
So I will, in that case, will reach out to the parent and say, if you want me to leave, or I'll continue, or I'll move over there. You know,
Hmm.
Again, it's always up to the client what they
Sure.
want to do.
Hmm.
Um,
I
but
think that's a really important thing to note, though, is that you're not forcing something just because that's what
Never,
that's what you brought
never,
in, but you never force it on
never,
them. And I
never.
think that's
And
important.
exactly, Steve. And when I do games,
Hmm.
so there's situations where I have a group of the kids, they're all engaging, and there will be one or two kids that are still next to their parents. And
Hmm.
I will go over to them and make an attempt to
Hmm.
do the game. Say I'm doing a game where, I have a game where there's a ball and they throw the ball at Spider-Man and I react. And
Hmm.
I will go over to the one or two kids that are not in the main group, and I will give like the ball to the mom, and the mom will holding the kid, and the kid will try, if the kid still, if the boy or the girl wants to still participate, I will do that. I
Hmm.
always do that. I go out of my way because I want every kid to have fun,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know.
That's great. That's
Um
amazing.
yeah.
That's the right way to do it. I mean, and it's you're kind of building up that trust factor, which I think is really great. You're not going out there and forcing it too much, or not trying to force it, which I think is really a key thing.
No, I do not try to force anything. If I see a kid, it's to the point where they're running away, I
Hmm.
just leave it be. I
Of
leave
course.
it be.
Of,
I let them come to me.
hmm.
And then a lot of times in the beginning of the party, yes, some of them are scared, but by the end, they're
Hmm.
warming up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I also encourage the mom or the dad, if they're if their kid is so scared, they can join in. I mean, if we're playing red light, green light,
Hmm.
the mom and dad can hold a hand. And I've had that
Hmm.
many times
Hmm.
where they join in on the game.
That's a really smart way
You
to do
know,
it too. Yeah, I love that. You're getting the parents involved as well. How about this? Has there been a time when a parent has been scared?
oh, yeah. Yes, there is. Yeah, there is times where the parents are like, "Oh, stay away from me." There's a big mascot. They get scared of those mascot heads. I'm
That's
like,
funny.
I mean, for the most part, I'm harmless. So it's like, come on, but you
Uh,
know,
that's
yes,
funny.
I don't do clowns.
Hmm.
And I bet if I did clowns, that would definitely be one of the factors. Like parents, a lot of adults are still scared of clowns, and I don't get it, but yeah, okay.
That's funny. Yeah, I could see that. So we're talking a lot about like birthday parties. Is there some, besides the birthday parties, do a lot of other types of events, or is there events that characters are really appropriate for outside of like a birthday party?
I mean, I do all different types of events, from movie nights to, for movie night, they'll say they're playing Stitch. I'll perform Stitch
Mm,
before, just a meet and greet style where I'll
mm,
take pictures and interact with the kids and so forth before the movie.
mm,
Um, I also do fundraisers as well,
mm,
which can be all the way from like doing games with the children and anyone who was involved, to just meet and greet style, where it's just taking pictures and waving and giving hugs and interacting.
mm,
I do. Oh, I do Halloween events,
mm.
for radio stations. There is none. If you can put a character in anything. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean,
Uh,
a store opening. Yeah, I've done store openings. I do, and you as well. We know we both
mhm,
work with Stanford Moms, and they do all sorts of events at the mall,
mhm,
and all the way from expos to movie
mhm,
nights, so forth. They do a lot of cool stuff.
mhm, mhm.
We both work with them, and
Mhm.
so yeah, there's really, I've done bat mitzvahs. I've done,
Really?
I mean, you name it. Yeah, oh yeah. I did a character as a bar mitzvah. I've done, of course, birthday parties. I've done,
Mm,
what else did I do? I do character breakfasts. I've
mm,
done
mm,
character
mhm. That
breakfasts.
makes
I
sense.
do character breakfasts.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no limit. I mean, if you want a character, come.
Yeah. Anywhere you
I
can
do
stick a character anywhere. I like
character
that.
night. I do character appearances at local. I've done it in the past at local restaurants where I do it at play places. I just recently did Olaf at a play place, where they had a Frozen theme. Worked with another company. I didn't do Elsa. Obviously, I was Olaf. I didn't do Elsa.
That makes
Not to
sense.
say I'm working on having an Elsa, but for me. But anyway, yes, I do all different types of events. I work with the Stanford Nature Center, and then they do fall festivals. They do a different, and they hire me as a character. I usually do Olaf for their fall festival, or winter festival, and I do other characters as well.
Is there a
for them.
character that you don't have that you really wish you did, or you really want to get?
I mean, the thing with the characters is you can't tell which one. You can tell which ones are going to be the universal ones all the time. Like, you have your Batman, your Spider-Man, Mickey Mouse, but then you have the
They're
fads that
legacy
come in.
characters.
Like, I'm getting a lot of like K-pop now, and
Yep.
I don't or the character with the big head with the little eyes. I can't even pronounce it. All you know what I'm talking about? Like they're all furry little.
Oh, you're talking about?
Definitely know it. You're definitely would know it if I showed you a picture of what it looks like. But people have been asking about that one, and I mean, I don't know. I think I would like to do maybe Ghostbuster would be cool.
Oh, that's a cool one. Yeah, absolutely. That'd be fun.
I do have I have a Superman costume. I really don't. I've been offered to do Superman once, and I don't look anything like Superman, so I don't know how I get away with it.
You grew a beard.
Remember,
that's why Superman grew a beard.
Yeah. Oh no. Here's another thing. When I do perform, say I perform Blippi or I perform Captain America, of course, I shave. I do take my character performance very seriously in the way I look. So I do shave. And that's the only time you're gonna see me shave is when I have to do Captain America, or if I have to, do a character where there's no facial hair. Because I really do like my beard and my goatee, but
that's fair. That's fair. So people get pushed away. You're like, you really want Spider-Man, not Captain America. I'm just saying. So that's what you're trying to say. You try to encourage people to get the other one instead.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I had to look at it. Oh, okay. I'm going to be Captain America. Well, I could be Captain America from Winter Soldier when he had the beard, but usually I do shave for Captain America. And I do shave, of course, when I do Blippi, because I feel like I look more like Blippi without the beard.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So,
Is there an ideal length of time for a character? I mean, people are trying to decide how long to have you there for. Obviously, meet and greet can be different, but
I know a lot of companies do 1 hour, hour and a half. I do 45 minutes. I feel that's enough time to engage the kids, to do games, and to take pictures. And again, you're dealing with younger kids. A lot of times you're doing, a 3, 4-year-old, 5-year-olds, and their attention span is not an hour.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. And I do come across that a lot. People are like, oh, you're 45 minutes. Do you do an hour? I'm like, well, if I'm going to do meet and greet style, yeah. I'm like, I do tell them, I do tell a lot of my customers, like, well, I do 45 minutes because I feel that, that the attention span, of the kid. And, that can go either way. The parents, because usually the parents like, oh, I want 1 hour or I want 2 hours. And, I don't mind doing an hour for meet and greet style because, yes, that, that is completely different. That is, people just lining up to take a picture with you and,
well, it's really important.
But when you're doing games, and that really takes a lot of energy, you're moving around, and 45 minutes I feel is good enough I don't like to stay more than 45 minutes in the character costume
Well, that was
if
going to
I'm
be my
doing
next
games.
question. Yeah, that was going to be my next question to you is, for from the meet and greet, how long can you actually stand there? I mean, there are times where people want multiple hours, and can you
Yeah.
do that? Do you do that? How do
I
breaks work
have
for you
done
and
it.
stuff?
I have done it. I have done an hour in a mascot costume meet and
Hmm.
greet. The key is, I think, for me anyway, is I have a neck fan, a head fan in my head, which
Ah,
keeps me a little cool,
yeah,
you know.
that's smart.
So a lot, obviously they don't know, but I have a fan in there that keeps me cool,
Uh-huh.
and I have one for my performer as well,
Hmm.
and I think that's important.
Hmm.
Now, if I didn't have it, I mean, if you're doing Elmo for an hour,
The middle
yeah,
of
you
June.
really get. Yeah, well, that's another thing. I mean, if I'm performing in July and August and it's 95 degrees out, you
Hmm.
know, I'll have a fan
Yeah.
in my head or like an air, and I will wear a cooling vest. I
Oh,
do
that's
wear a
smart.
cooling vest
Yeah.
underneath, like say I do Sonic, and I've done it.
Hmm.
Sonic, Rex, the dinosaur that I have, I will put a cooling vest on underneath.
Hmm.
Um, Now, I'm not going to lie, it helps, but it doesn't 100% help, you
No.
know?
Yeah. Makes it
But
better. Makes it
those
more
are little,
tolerable.
yeah, those are little tricks that I do, and I'm sure most performers do. I always wondered if they do that at Disney.
Hmm.
I don't know. At
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
amusement parks,
Yeah. Yeah.
if
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
give the actual
I would imagine.
um yeah, a fan. But I think that's important. You got to stay safe. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
had situations. Now, I did do a situation, I don't know, a while ago. I used to have inflatable,
Okay.
the inflatable costume. So I had a
Mm-hmm.
minion,
Hmm.
and it was in the middle of summer, and the minion fan, it popped.
Mm.
And I didn't want to. The actual costume popped, and the fan broke.
Okay.
So basically, I didn't want to disappoint the customer,
Hmm.
and I put the thing on. The worst thing I could ever do. I almost suffocated in it.
No.
Because I was holding it up like this, and like I was dancing around, and all of a sudden I got really lightheaded, and I had to stop the performance,
Uh-huh.
and never do that again ever. I won't work with the inflatable. I don't. I only had one, and it was for the minion. Now I have a nice minion that
Mm-hmm.
full mascot,
Hmm.
made of the foam and so
Hmm.
forth. But a sponge. But I learned the hard way. I mean, I almost passed out
Hmm.
doing that, and I'll never do that again.
Yeah.
But anyway, getting on another tangent on
No,
that.
I think that's really, I think you really are sharing something that people can really benefit from understanding is that there's limitations to doing these types of things. I think some people think that they're like, oh, it's just a costume. That's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to hear that because I think that's where the value is. You're really going out there and you're putting your body through something, and it is a struggle. It is hard work. It is. It's not even just the performance aspect of it, but the truly just being in that character is hard work because
Yes.
it's hot and it's constricting and things like that. So I really think
It's
that's
hot in
an important
there.
thing.
There's limited visibility.
Hmm.
Um, you know, uh, and I always do tell. I tell, the mom and the dad, and I'm performing, especially when I'm about to come out, and they'll be like, "Oh, can you see in there? Can you get down the steps?" Yes, I could see. I'm looking at your foot. I tell them. I don't. I do
Yeah,
warn them and tell them sometimes that my visibility is not 100%.
sure.
You know, because obviously, I've had situations where, especially in those costumes, some of the kids are so small they're right underneath you and you
Yeah.
can't see. And
Bump into
they're
him by
holding
accident.
on to your leg, and
Yeah.
I feel something there, but I can't see him.
That is
um,
true. That is true. And it's important also to kind of keep that in mind. The fact that you can't necessarily see, you mentioned earlier, you can't hear that well. Sometimes that's a factor. And obviously some clients don't necessarily realize that. They think, oh, they're with the person that's doing the stuff. They're fine. But you still have to, as as a parent or as a, whatever, a party
yeah,
planning person, you have to keep that in mind and ensure that there is supervision. You're not responsible for that. You're performing, you're not
yes,
responsible
yeah.
for them, which I think is really an important thing to
You know,
note.
I also think, which is really important is that your surroundings,
Hmm.
when you go in there and know where you're not going to go and limitations,
Hmm.
and the one thing I have to say is, yes, the parents always say to me in the middle of your performance that, they see the performance, they see how good you're doing, and then they're like, you must be really hot in there. Like, they always say that to me
And
all
you're
the
like,
time.
yes.
They're like, they're like, you're amazing, or God bless you, or I can't believe that you're in this costume. It's so hot. and I
Yeah.
and I'm just like, what do you want me to say? I always just say one word. I'm okay. It's all good. Or or I say,
You could be
I go,
honest. You could tell them the truth. You're like, yes,
exactly.
yes, it
I can
is.
say, I'm used to it.
Ah,
I mean, yeah.
so
I
I
don't
don't
ever
know if
say to
you
them,
go
I
ahead.
don't ever say to them, yeah, I'm drenched right now with sweat. And I'm like,
Uh, so I don't know if you
but
know, but
yeah,
I've done characters myself. I own a, I, I've been in them myself as well,
of course.
and I could I've had stories or when I was younger, I did Elmo in the middle of June on a 101-degree day, and
Oh,
it
yeah.
was yeah, I could the feeling of like you're shaking, your eyes are starting to blur. It's a real thing. It's a real concern that happens. And parents came over, they put their hand on my back, and it's like you feel the costume is soaking wet just from like all the sweat you've had in that for like,
Oh, yes.
the
I
30
can't
minutes
tell
you're
you
in
how
there.
many. I can't tell you how many times, like when I'm taking up the pictures, especially, and the mom and the dads come over, and of course they want to put your arm around you, and
Yes.
you're soaking wet, and they're like, "You must be really hot," and they can feel it,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know. Um, I'm hoping that not to the point where the customer is like, "Oh my God, he's so soaking sweaty." But what do they expect here? I'm running around playing tag in a full mascot
Well,
costume.
I don't think people realize it. They just don't. They at the end of the day, it's just the thing that they don't realize. So yeah, I mean, it is surprising, and I think that's really like good to share that there are limitations, physical, visual, auditory. All of them are limitations to what the capability somebody is, and that's just a human thing. You're not a superhero literally, so you are human to be able to do that. So I think it's really important to note and just to say. That leads me to another question now is how do you maintain the characters, the costumes themselves? Because obviously after an event, you've now, sweated out half your body, waiting in sweat. I'm sure those costumes are not ready to go out to another event right away.
No, no, I do clean them, sterilize them. I do Lysol with them. I bring them to the cleaners. I have a go-to cleaner guy, and they do the tailoring and cleaning
Okay.
on a lot of my costumes.
Does the
And then
guy look at
obviously,
you weird when you bring in Elmo body into the thing?
yeah, they laugh. They laugh, but I've been doing it for years to the
Mhm.
same cleaners,
Yeah.
and they know me by now. I give them a lot of business. I give them a lot of business, not only on the cleaning aspect, but on the tailor aspect.
Uh-huh.
There's always little tricks that I like to add to my costumes.
Mhm.
So, you know, like for example, when I got my Bluey costume, the arms, weren't and the hands weren't attached. So you put them
Uh,
on. Now I made it one big piece so that you just put it on and the
mhm.
hands, so you can't see any skin at all.
Mhm.
And I got tailored like that. And I did that with a couple of my costumes. I did that with my SpongeBob. I did that with my Bluey, my Bingo.
Mhm.
Um,
That's great.
there's always little things that I do to my costumes and make them a little extra special. My Batman, as a comic fan guy, I know we're going off subject, but
No, no.
but
That's great.
as a comic guy, and a Batman lover, I actually attached I made my own belt. So my favorite Batman is Michael Keaton,
Mhm.
1989 Batman. That's my Batman that I have, and I have the belt. I have the Batarang that I attach to the belt. I have the light up one as well. I also like to bring in little props, and
Mhm.
I think that's important
Mhm.
in the character performance. But
Yeah,
yes, getting back to the cleaning. Went off subject a little bit.
that's okay.
I have a go-to cleaners person. There's also tricks of the trade that the manufacturer of my costumes told me how to clean the sponge to get
Mm.
stains off and
Mhm.
so forth.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That is really great. We've been talking for a while. I really do appreciate you being on here. I have a
Well,
couple of
thank you
questions
for
that I
having me.
always, yeah, absolutely. There are a couple of questions I always like to ask. First question is going to be, looking back in your career, I think I asked this already, but is there something that you're most proud of?
Hmm. Well, I have to say I'm most proud of is I actually made a side hustle a
Hmm.
full-time business.
Hmm.
Uh, and a lot of people doubted me. My parents, my dad was like, my dad's a dentist, retired now. My
Okay.
mom was a teacher, and they both were like, come on, David, we know you do this on the, they didn't think I can make it a real full-time business.
Hmm.
And I have. I mean, with over 50 characters, I have
Hmm.
two performers now that work with me, and I have one that actually working for me
Hmm.
uh, on her own now, and because she's an actual theater major, and I trust her energy and
Hmm.
so forth. Um, yeah, I think that's the thing I'm most proud of is that I actually made this a real business, and it's getting bigger. I've made a lot of connections and
Sure.
relationships, working with all different types of people, and yeah, and I'm a small business. I'm not
Hmm.
a big business, and I'm trying to get bigger, and I feel I will.
Sure.
um yeah, so I think that's the thing I'm most proud of is that I actually created a side hustle into a full-time business. Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that. Looking forward now, looking towards the next year, the rest of the year. Is there something that you're most looking forward to?
I think what I'm looking forward to do is actually I want to find two more performers that will actually be able to go out and do what I do,
Hmm.
energy level wise, and this professional and so forth. I
Hmm.
want to keep growing my business. And I think also what I really want to do is add um, princesses to the mix. And that's
Hmm.
something I don't have.
Hmm.
Um, Something I really want to get into. And I'm hoping this summer this spring it's going to happen that there will be a performer with me that will be able she'll be able to do a princess program for
That's
the
amazing.
children.
That's
I
great.
mean, I'm not going to lie, I do work with different princess companies. I've
Sure.
worked with so many of the local ones, and yes, they're good, they are good, and I enjoy working with them. But it would be nice to dabble in
Doing it
that.
your way. You have a certain way of doing it, which I guess is, that's the way that you want to make it your own, which is important.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, I would love to have my own Elsa, make my own Elsa program. I've worked with like Your Premium Princess, and
Hmm.
I worked with KO Princess parties, and and I've always performed. I performed Mickey while they performed the princess, or
Hmm.
I performed Olaf where they performed Elsa. And yes,
Hmm.
I go layer along with them, and but it would be nice to have that for myself as
Sure.
well for my company.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Amazing. Wrapping it up, is there any, oh, actually, before I do that, what is one interesting fact about yourself that people don't know?
I mean, that people don't know or my clients don't know.
I guess your clients, that's fine. What's something
I
interesting about
mean,
yourself?
I think my clients, when they look at me, I think they don't know my age. I mean, I'm 53 years old.
Okay.
So, you know, I think they're thinking, when they see me, they're probably like, more after the performance, right? When they see me, if they see a guy with a beard, like, oh, whoa, this is a 50-something year old, this guy going in the costume, he moves around like this and forms, and they realize, yeah, yeah, I think a lot of my clients don't know that I play a lot of basketball, that
Mm.
I am a ex skateboarder.
Oh,
So like
okay.
I'm an athletic person. I mean, I think they kind of can tell, I guess, when they watch me perform.
Mhm.
But a lot of my, yeah, I think a lot of my clients don't really know my age
Mm.
until, when they talk to me on the phone, they're like, "Oh, you have so much energy and you're so into it." And
Eh,
I am, because like I said, I'm into the camera. I'm into the characters. I
mhm,
know all the characters I perform.
mhm,
I do my research, but I know a lot of it, especially when they're doing the superheroes or the Star
mhm.
Wars stuff. And, I know that stuff and I love it. I'm a collector. I think obviously a lot of my clients probably don't know, but I'm a collector. Like I
Mm,
collect action figures and
mhm.
puppets, whatever. But yes, it all fits inside. And at one
Sure.
time, I know we got to go, but one time before I was actually, oh, I came very close to buying a costume shop, a little one in Norwalk,
Okay.
where I originally started buying my costumes and renting my costumes to perform on the side
Mhm,
before I had all the costumes. And I was going to do a whole incorporation where,
mm,
okay, I'll have my character business, but I'll sell characters as well to rent out, but I'll also sell comics there and collectibles
mm.
and the whole thing. It never panned out, but yeah,
Love that.
I'm. I have
The
to say this is the best job I've ever had
That's
ever
good.
in
That's
my
so
mind.
amazing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
so amazing. I love, like I said, I love your energy. I love how much how
Thank you.
passionate you are about it. And that's really, it exudes through everything you're doing. So that's really, really, great. Um, it's something I thought of that you kind of touched on just a moment ago is the after character moment, which is something that I've experienced, and I'm curious to see your perspective on it. You're in these characters, you're acting in a certain way, you're presenting yourself a certain way, and then all of a sudden you go and you change, and you're now not that character. How is that
Uh,
dynamic?
I get that all the time. I mean, obviously, there's so many events that I do where I'm getting escorted in as like you feel like Leonardo DiCaprio. You know what I mean? Because the kids are like, "Oh my God!" They're jumping up and down. They're losing their breath, and then after the performance is over, I go back, I change, I come back out to the same party, and the whole party walks right by you like you don't exist. Except the mom or dad that are about to give you the money.
They know who you are. They're like, that's the guy. That is him. That's funny.
I
Well,
mean,
a funny story to that is that I've met you many times, and I've never knew what you look like in real life
I know,
until
because you always just see
until
me.
more
I
recently.
know, because you always see me in action.
Yeah. That's funny.
I
Uh,
know. So when I came over to you, that was really funny. When I came over to you, and you didn't understand who I was, and then I finally introduced you, and like, oh,
that
hey.
is
But
true.
yeah, because it was funny. I did the what was it, the Stanford Block Party last
Mhm,
summer, and
mhm,
Stephanie asked me to be Blippy,
mhm.
and there was this one little girl. And she comes over to me and she's hyperventilating and she's like, "Oh my God, it's Blippy!" Ooh, ooh, ooh. And I'm like giving her a high five and a hug, and it feels so good. Now, if I after I change and I walk by the same little girl and I have my baseball cap,
Like, who's
she
that
wouldn't
creep?
even know I existed.
That's funny. Yeah, that's exactly what I was getting at. Is unfortunately, I feel like sometimes you get there and you still want you may think you made a connection, and you're like, nope, they just no idea. I mean, in reality, they don't know, but that's
Exactly.
so
But
funny.
the
Which
most
is part of the fun.
important thing is when I'm the character, when I
Yeah.
do the performance, is that they feel this is the real Spider-Man. This is the real Batman, because they're so young. I understand when I perform for adults and teenagers, whatever, they know this, I'm not the real, and hopefully they don't ruin it for the younger ones, because sometimes they do. Sometimes they're like, he's not the real Batman, you know?
Mhm.
But, I definitely want the younger ones, the ones I'm performing for, to feel that they're interacting, they're playing hide and seek, they're playing tag with the real Spider-Man. You know, they're I want them to feel that way, you know, because they're so young, and I want them to have that experience, you know. And I think the great thing also about this job, I know we do got to go, is I get a lot of repeat business, and I'm sure you do as well. So, and that makes you feel really good because you know that you did a great job. They love your performance. And I can't tell you how many times I've been asked back to do multiple characters for many different families all over. So, and, you know, I do Santa as well as the Easter Bunny, and I have like go-to Santa people that I do every year. I do home Santas, and I'm like a tradition. I do either the Grinch for them, or I do, I didn't even tell you some of my Grinch stories, so maybe that'll be another time. I have some funny Grinch stories.
Let's hear it. I mean, we got, listen, there's no limit to this. You can tell me your Grinch story. What's a good Grinch story?
The Grinch story is in Westport, and the client wanted me to like creep in, you know, so I'm like looking through the window and going behind the door, and they wanted me to steal or attempt to steal the Christmas presents from the Christmas tree. Okay. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And there was probably about 15 kids, you know, a lot of them were older. A lot of them were like teenagers in high school, middle school. And so I'm as the Grinch, and I'm about to go towards the tree, and they go, "Oh no, it's the Grinch!" And they literally like attacked me, and they were like, "Don't let him get to the tree." One of the kids took like one of those big plastic wooden, or like the soldier things, and barricaded to the tree. Like I couldn't get there. Then I had like a 7-year-old jump off the couch and do like a Jimmy Snuka wrestling move on top of me. I'm like,
you're like, I need to get out of here. I'm not safe.
Yeah. I told the you know, the guy, the father who hired me, I'm like, okay, you got to calm this down here. They were like really upset. The kids, they were pissed, especially the high school kids. They were like, don't take the presents under the tree. And so he made an announcement. He's like, okay, the Grinch is gonna take pictures now, or you gotta go, you know. And then I didn't. That's to say, I never got the presents from the tree.
So the kids won. That's all that matters. And at the end of the day, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, exactly. But I just thought it. Yeah, I didn't expect them to barricade the tree. Like that's funny. Literally put a barricade in front of it so I could not get there. And then, yeah, the 7-year-old coming off the couch doing a super wrestling move, didn't expect that either. You know.
Oh boy, that's wild.
Those are just some of the fun stories that I have. But yes, yeah.
That's so cool. I love that story. And you know what? That is a perfect way to wrap up this conversation. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys enjoyed this, I hope you all enjoyed it. So make sure you share it, you like it. We'd love to have you guys, if anybody needs a costume character of any sort or any kind of character performances, make sure you reach out. We'd love to have you a part of it. We'd love to be doing stuff with you guys. David, thank you so very much for joining us. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Magical Memories Unlocked, your guide to event success. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. See you.
Thanks for listening to Magical Memories Unlocked. This guide to event success is so helpful, some are shocked. Planning something big, we're here for you with ideas and tips to make your vision come true. Magical Memories Entertainment is the team to make all